Hello students, and we're going to be taking a look at polynomial products here. So this is different than what we've looked at before. So far we've just been doing monos times monos, monos times binomials. Now we've got a binomial times a trinomial. So we can't use FOIL here. FOIL is expressly for the purpose of a binomial times a binomial. So we're going to use the distributive property. And what that says is that every term in this binomial needs to multiply every term in this trinomial. So let's color code things. 2x is going to multiply x squared. 2x also needs to multiply negative 3x. And 2x needs to multiply positive 5. Negative 1 here needs to multiply x squared, needs to multiply negative 3x, and needs to multiply plus 5. So what we're going to do is we're going to color code these two results. So 2x times x squared, well, that gives me 2x cubed. 2x times negative 3x, that gives me negative 6x squared. And 2x times 5 gives me positive 10x. So now let's do our negative 1. So negative 1 times x gives me negative x squared. Negative 1 times negative 3x gives me positive 3x. And negative 1 times 5 gives me negative 5. So what we want to do now is we want to collect our like terms. And we're going to do this starting with our highest degree term, our x cubes. So I only have one x cubed term here. So this is going to give me 2x cubed. Now, this guy's done, so we're just going to draw a little line underneath it. Now we're going to do our x squared terms. That's this one and this one. Here we got two of them. So if I have negative 6x squared and I take away another x squared, I'm going to get negative 7x squared. So now this is done and this is done. Next we're going to go to our linear terms, or just our 1 degree terms. This is 10x plus 3x. So that's going to give us a total of 13x. And now this is done and this is done. And finally we're left with our constant term, or our degree 0 term, and we have minus 5. So what we find is 2x minus 1 multiplying x squared minus 3x plus 5 reduces down, after we expand it, to 2x cubed minus 7x squared plus 13x minus 5. Hello students, and we're going to continue our look at polynomial products. In this case we have three binomials being multiplied together. So we've got 2x minus 1 multiplying 3x minus 2 multiplying x minus 3. So what we're going to do in order to solve this is we're not going to multiply the binomials all together at once. What we're going to do is we're going to do them in pairs here. So I'm going to multiply these two binomials together first. Now, this is just my own personal choice. You could have just as easily multiplied these two together first or these two together first. I'm just working from left to right for simplicity's sake. So what I want you to do is to FOIL out 2x minus 1 onto 3x minus 2. If you don't like using FOIL, you can use the table method or whichever method suits you best. So multiplying these out, what we're going to find is 2x times 3x is 6x squared. 2x times negative 2 is negative 4x. Negative 1 times 3x is negative 3x. And negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2. And then we're still multiplying this term here. Notice that we can collect our like terms. Negative 4x and negative 3x are like terms. So just below here I'm going to simplify. This simplifies to 6x squared minus 7x plus 2, all multiplied by x minus 3. So my suggestion here is to draw your multiplication lines always from your smaller polynomial. So a binomial is smaller than a trinomial. So we're going to be considering our distribution from this guy. So what we're going to have is x multiplies 2, x multiplies negative 7x, x multiplies 6x squared, and negative 3 multiplies 2, negative 3 multiplies 7x, and negative 3 multiplies 6x squared. So try multiplying those out and we'll take a look at how you do. So following our red path here, x times 6x squared gives us 6x cubed. X times negative 7x gives us negative 7x squared. And x times 2 gives us 2x. Following our blue path, negative 3 times 6x squared gives us negative 18x squared. Negative 3 times negative 7x gives us positive 21x. And finally, 2 times negative 3 gives us negative 6. So we're going to be collecting like terms here. So if you want to try it on your own, you can pause the video. Otherwise, you can follow along with me. So we start out collecting like terms always from our highest degree. So we're going to start out here. And just below here, there's nothing else to match up with 6x cubed. So we're just going to drop it right down there. Whoops, sorry, cubed. And this one is done. So let's move on to our next one. So I've got our x squared terms. Well, there's two of those. So negative 7x squared minus 18x squared gives me negative 25x squared. So now this one is done and this one is done. Lastly, or second last, sorry, we've got our linear terms, just our x terms here. So we've got 2x plus 21x gives us 23x. And now this is done and this is done. And lastly, we get our constant term, negative 6. So what we find here, if we look up from the beginning, is that 2x minus 1 multiplied by 3x minus 2 multiplied by x minus 3 is equal to exactly 6x cubed minus 25x squared plus 23x minus 6. Hello students, and we're going to wrap up our polynomial products with how to multiply a trinomial times a trinomial. Now, in this case, they're equally as large. They each have 3 terms. So we're just going to work from starting on our left-hand trinomial here. So the idea is that 3x squared term multiplies the 2x squared, needs to multiply the 3x and the 1. The negative 4x term needs to multiply the 2x squared, needs to multiply the 3x and the 1. And finally, this 1 term needs to multiply the 2x squared, the 3x, and the 1. So how it works is every single term in this polynomial has to multiply each term here. Now if we did it the other way, we would get a similar result, it's just our arrows would be drawn slightly differently. So let's pause the video and let's multiply out each set of these colors. So what we're going to see is following the path of multiplying everything in this trinomial by 3x squared, we get 6x to the 4 plus 9x cubed plus 3x squared. Following multiplying negative 4x by everything in this trinomial, we get negative 8x cubed minus 12x squared minus 4x. And then following multiplying 1 by everything in this trinomial, we get, well, we get this trinomial back again. We get 2x squared plus 3x plus 1. Now we want to practice our collecting of like terms. So if you want to try on your own, you can pause the video or you can follow along with me. So we're going to start out with our highest degree term, and that is this 6x to the 4. So there's nothing else like it, so it's going to come right down, and this guy's done. The next highest degree is our cube units. So right there and right there, we got a pair of them. So we've got 9x cubed minus 8x cubed. That's going to leave us just a single cubed term. So next we're going to go to our squared terms. Got a few more of these. I've got a 3x squared, a negative 12x squared, and a 2x squared. Oh, sorry, I just want to show that we've taken care of those guys. So if I have 3x squared minus 12x squared. That gives me negative 9x squared. And I add another 2x squared. That's going to give me negative 7x squared. So now my x squared terms are done. We're going to move on to our linear terms, or just our degree 1 terms. So I've got negative 4x plus 3x. That's going to be just negative a single x. And now those are done. And then finally, our very last term, last but not least, our constant term is just going to be plus 1. So, started out being very messy and colorful, 3x squared minus 4x plus 1 multiplied by 2x squared plus 3x plus 1, and we get our final answer of 6x to the 4 plus x cubed minus 7x squared minus x plus 1.